This video demonstrates an issue I'm having currently with Studio One version 6.5.0 and version 6.5.1. We're working today with Studio One 6.5.1.96553. Before I get started, I'd like to take just a moment to show you my directory structure that I'm using so that as we go through this, you'll be familiar with what's going on and why. I could use your versioning system for this, and it's a nice system, but it's not consistent with other versioning systems that I'm using across all of my tools. So I'm using a system that I've been using for years very reliably on all of my tools, including Studio One until just recently, in which I have a folder for each song, and beneath that song folder, I have a folder for each day that I work on that song. So, for example, I have a song here that I did back in late 2022 that I only worked on for one day. And if we look within that day folder, we will see that we have two versions of the song that I worked on that day, version -01 and version -02. So that's the way that I'm doing things, and we're going to be working today within this country concept folder. Back to Studio One. Well, I've got a file here that I've chosen this particular file, which is the second file from that day. I've chosen this particular file because I haven't worked on it in a while. And when this particular version of the file was saved, I was not having a problem, this problem that I'm having now. So we're going to go ahead and save a version of this file for today's date, and it'll be the first version on today's date. So I will click on Save As, and it brings up in the folder where the current song file is located. So I'm going to jump back up to the song folder, and I'm going to create a new folder for today. (23/11/16), and I'll step into that folder. And then what we're trying to do is to save this song as 23/11/16-01, and it should save it within today's file 23/11-16. So I click on Save, and we'll go back to Windows Explorer and see what really happened there. So you can see that we have our new folder that I just explicitly created, today's folder 23/11/16, and I go into that folder, and instead of seeing my song file, I'm seeing a new folder that was created there using the name of my song file 23/11/16-01. And if I step into that folder, I will see that my song file is there instead of back up in the today's folder where I expected it to be. Now, to go back and see what happens real quick, we'll do this again just to see what happens with a second file that I created for today, just so you can see the same things happening there. File, Save As, and it opens me up in the file folder that it had created. We'll jump back up to today's folder, and I'm going to bump the revision number on this to 02, and we will save that under the expectation that 02 will be saved under today's folder 23/11/16. So I click on Save. We'll go back to the Windows Explorer, and there we see, once again, within today's folder, we have a second subfolder that was created with my new song file's name. And if I jump into that folder, I will see that it has my new song file there instead of back up in today's folder where I would expect it to be. So that's what's happening. And this, as I said before, is just a recent development. It's happened within the last month or so. And I don't remember the first date that it started happening, but it's been within the last month. And I'd appreciate if you could take a look at this and see if you can duplicate it and see whether the problem is maybe an issue with the application, or that there's something I'm doing wrong that I need to correct, or perhaps there's an issue with my system itself, or perhaps a configuration parameter somewhere that I need to set to make it function as expected. So any help you can give me, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.